Welcome to Voices of Transformation. Here I interview men and women who work with transformation. And today I have the lovely Kate McDowell with me, and I will interview her. But first, I want to throw a question at you. What's a thing that the unconscious do that you are still mind blown by today with all the studies you have done? So you can think on that and answer later on in the interview.
Okay.
But for now, I would love to hear your story because I find that it's really interesting.
Okay, my story. Um, Essentially, I was diagnosed with a critical illness 20 years ago. So I was 22 years old, and I was a child that thought or was raised by a family that said if there's anything wrong with you, you go to the doctor. And medicine is the only path that you should focus on, and that's what'll help you get to a place of getting healthy. So that's what I did. I went in and got this diagnosis of MS at 22 years old. It was something I'd never heard of before, so that was the first shock,
What
was
is MS
hearing
for us who doesn't really know?
MS is an autoimmune condition where essentially with autoimmune, your body is attacking itself, is the way that MS is seen. I don't entirely agree with that anymore. I see it as your body's attacking something and your tissues are getting in the way. And
Okay.
so what's happening is the immune system is attacking kind of like the layer around the outside of your nerve cells called the myelin sheath. And when it breaks that down, then nerves are exposed. And so then we end up with lesions, and that can cause
And
problems.
very painful.
Painful motor problems. So I used to trip over nothing. I used to drop things all of the time. And the biggest frustration that I had with MS was the cognitive issues. I couldn't speak like I could in the past. Thoughts were good in my mind, and it was like there was a frayed wire between my brain and my mouth. So they didn't come out properly. And if you've ever been in a situation where you can't speak and you can't be a part of the conversation, it
Terrifying.
becomes, yeah,
Terrifying.
and it's like I hid from stuff because I felt not smart, which I knew that I was. And so that was frustrating for sure. And yes, there was a lot of pain. There was a lot of nerve pain, balance and coordination issues. My energy was really low. And so I thought I was doing everything I had to do to get healthy, and I just kept getting sicker and sicker. And so I had kind of a turning point moment after 7 years. I took the medication for 7 years, and just my quality of life was slipping down the drain. And I went to my best friend at the time because at this point I had started to kind of not believe anymore that medicine was going to solve my problems. So I was raising money for the MS Society, which is a society in North America that is putting efforts into research and looking for a cure for this condition. And so I thought, okay, I'll raise money for MS. And I raised thousands of dollars for the MS Society and just kept hoping that they would come up with an answer for me. And so when I went to my friend and said, will you sponsor me for this MS ride? She was my best friend at the time. And she said, Kate, I love you. I will absolutely sponsor you, but you know they're never going to come up with a cure, right? Oh,
That's harsh. That
it
loving
was
but
like
harsh.
it was like a knife in the heart. I thought at the time I was angry. I was upset. I was like, how could she say that to me? But the saying is like the good friends will tell you what you want to hear. The best friends will tell you what you need to hear. And that's exactly what that was. It was what I needed to hear because I had the turning point moment a couple of days later where I looked at things and went, holy crap, she was right. All of this time
What did you see that you hadn't saw before
at that moment.
at that moment? Because holy crap, she was right. What did
Mhm.
you see at that moment, if you remember?
I realized that everything I'd been doing, I'd been waiting for something outside of myself to come and rescue me. And I realized that I needed to take responsibility. If change was going to happen, it was up to me. And so that was empowering, even though after I got over the being angry, hurt, and upset, it was like, okay, what can I do? Awesome. Now it started to propel me in a different direction. And it's the narrow view that I had in the past of like medicine is the only answer. There were so many things outside of that that I hadn't had awareness to before because I was so narrowly focused. And so my perspective opened. Things like nutrition, things like spirituality, things like mindset all came into my view, which I hadn't seen before. And that was what took me in the direction that's led me to living 9 years symptom free. It's not,
Symptom free.
I've been symptom free.
That is powerful because I would say I can have the illness if I don't have any symptoms. That's okay with
Mhm.
me. But no symptom. That is fantastic. I have not heard about anybody I know, and I have a few friends who has MS, and
Mhm.
none of them are symptom free. So I think they would love to hear what you bring to the table.
Yeah. It's my hope is to share with people that it is possible. Just to shape, like again, to change that perspective from the narrow view of these are the only things that we can do to see different opportunities and different like ways that you can use flexibility to embrace more options for yourself. And symptom free, I mean, there is effort involved in it for sure. And you can focus on the physical things. Like, yes, nutrition was a part of my journey. And yes, cleaning up the interactions that I involved myself with. Like, I left a toxic relationship that neither of us were bad people. We just weren't the right people for each other. And I left a toxic work environment. I was driving an hour and a half at minimum each way to work every day. And just there was a lot of pressure. And so I did make some changes from the external stressors that I was dealing with. But I also had to unpack some mental stuff that I'd just been ignoring and like piling into a backpack that I'd been carrying around so long that it was weighing me down. So there's stuff that you need to work through, but it's understanding that just because there's no cure doesn't mean you can't get healthy.
To me, it sounds like there is not one cure. There are many steps in this cure or living symptom free. Uh,
Hmm.
it's your belief systems, it's
Hmm.
taking care of toxicity in working environments, in relationships, and also nutrition. By now, I should know that nutrition is really important for most things, but I hadn't thought about nutrition and MS. So,
Hmm.
what can you say about that?
I mean, ultimately, I looked at it from the perspective of what are the things that are essentially poisoning me? Or what are the triggers that are happening? So then yes, the toxic relationships, the toxic work environment, all of that, if we think of the toxic side of things, what are the toxic foods that I'm consuming every day? Am I
Would you
eating lots of
say it's different for different people, the kind of things you eat, or is it something that has a common denominator? In some things are really not healthy if you have problems with MS.
I would think yes, it is. I mean, everything is going to be different for different people because it depends on the experiences that we've had in the past as well. If something you react to or something that you don't, but looking at processed foods and understanding that they're not really very good for us. And looking at what are the inflammatory triggers for you, like seed oils is something that's in North America is very commonly used, like vegetable oil. There's what are your inflammatory triggers? And if you can eliminate those and eat real whole food, you're going to have to learn how to cook again. Probably if you didn't. I didn't know how to cook at the time, not really. I was very basic, but I was like, okay, so I need to cook some food. I need to start putting the foods in my body that are going to help me get to a place of healing. Because my belief, especially now, is that these bodies are designed to heal themselves. We're
Mm.
designed to do incredible things. And if it's not able to do so, what's getting in the way or what's missing? And this can be from so many different layers, but from a food perspective, if you give the body good food, it's like if I poisoned the plant behind me, just gave it a little bit of poison every single day, just a couple drops, it's not going to do well. And we wouldn't be surprised by that. But why do we just kind of consistently put,
Constantly surprised when we eat things that are not good for us.
yeah.
How would I know what things are inflammatory?
I mean, there is a list. Google will help with that now as well. I have one client who said he uses ChatGTP every time when he's going to make a meal and just to see is this an inflammatory food. I mean, there may be things that are inflammatory for some people also that aren't for others. When it comes to, I ate a paleo diet initially when I got started. So that's no grains, no dairy, no processed foods, no processed sugars, Basically, I was eating some fruit, vegetables, fresh eggs, fresh meats, and seafood. That was essentially it. People are like, oh, you cut out all these things. What did you eat? There's lots of food that you can eat
Yeah.
when you look at the external perimeter of the grocery store or however you'd like to look at it. But I was able to eat tomatoes, and some people don't do well with tomatoes. So it's right. It's there's
But
going to be
we're
fine
kind
tweaking.
of programmed to think that we can only eat such and such things that are in the store, where it's
Mhm.
actually a lot of things we can eat. We just don't realize we can do it, and we can
Mhm.
eat vegetables. It doesn't have to be pre-cooked or in all sorts of dishes. So, how
Yeah.
long did it take you to notice when you started eating differently? When did you notice a change?
I saw, okay, so after I had that pattern interrupt when the friend said to me about the no cure and my awareness started to open and I noticed nutrition, I got a video from Dr. Terry Walls, who's like a pretty big name in the MS world society. And the video was a TEDx talk that she did that talked about her journey and how she had been in a worse place than me. She was in a tilt shift wheelchair. She couldn't do anything for herself. And she's on stage walking around giving this TEDx talk and
Powerful.
talking about she was a medical doctor, is a medical doctor, and how medicine let her down and the nutrition was what helped her get to where she is. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe this is something I should try. So I looked into the way of eating that she was using and I said, you know what, I'll commit myself to 30 days of this. And if I see a difference, then I'll keep going. And this is often the way I do things when I try something new. I'm like, I'll give it 30 days. And knowing that that's a level that I can commit to sticking with. After 30 days, I did not, there was no turning back. It's not saying that it fixed everything, but it was enough of a change that I was like, I'm on to something. I need to keep moving forward because after 7 years of taking the medication, I never felt better. I continued to feel worse and worse and worse. And 30 days of eating differently, and I'm feeling a little bit better. Wait a minute.
That's amazing. And
Mhm.
that is also giving you power back to realize that what you are doing, you're onto something
Mhm.
instead of just sitting, reacting to what other people say you need to do this, you have to take this medicine for the rest of
Yep.
your life, so on, so on. So I would suggest that that probably empowered you to continue.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, I can do something, and this is proof, which was very cool.
How did spirituality help you, if I may ask? You don't have to answer, but I'm just curious.
Without kind of shifting perspective there, I don't think I would have been open. Okay. So again, I think I said I was a science-minded kid in the past, and so I thought medicine was the only way. And then I started to bend and lean into, okay, maybe food can help me here. Looking back when I first started this journey, if you had said to me nutrition will make a difference, I would have been like, "Pff, nope, you're crazy. You don't know anything." And then to get to the point where I am now a hypnotist, there is no way I would have been open to that in the past. So it was like kind of a sprinkling of things along the journey, but seeing that maybe there's a spiritual side of things, or maybe there are different possibilities outside of the 3D world that we live in, that's what opened my mind to kind of embracing hypnosis and different possibilities as well.
It's amazing what shifting perspective will do for you.
Yep.
Going from tunnel vision, this is
Hmm.
it, to, oh, look, I can
Yeah.
see a lot of other stuff and I can try a lot of other stuff. So it's really empowering when you do that. And I think your story is such a wonderful testimony to people who have an autoimmune system. It's very hopeful
Hmm.
because what you are saying is there is hope. And when somebody is really ill, there are days when you have no hope.
Hmm.
So hearing your story, it's very powerful indeed, and I'm really happy to hear it. And now you have clients,
Hmm.
and are they all MS clients, so to speak, or who comes to you?
Not all MS clients. In the last probably 6 months, I've been focusing more on sharing MS related. I am on social media, I'm very active there, and I share lots of content about kind of my journey and my story and the things that have helped me and worked for me. And so I am attracting more MS people now, but for a phase of the journey, I didn't want to focus on it because
Mm.
I understand the perspective of the things we think about is the things that are attracted to us. And one of my teachers, I went to nutrition college, and in the first class I was in, I remember him saying to a woman who had been through breast cancer, and all she talked about was breast cancer, breast cancer, breast cancer. And he said to her, "You're going to attract that back to you. You need to stop that." And so I shied away from it because I thought, I do not want to welcome this back into my life. And so I've had to shift kind of the energy that I put into it from a place of healing, from a place of quality of life and getting better and hope and possibility, because I didn't want to attract the crap that I went through back into my own life. So I've been working with MS clients um, quite a bit more actively for the last 6 months. And before that, I mean, I do have lots of other clients because I am a holistic nutritionist by trade as well. So anything when there's health problems and you feel like you're not getting the answers that you want, there's lots of medical gaslighting that goes around, and especially
Mhm.
women just feel like they're not getting the support that they need. And so I help with a lot of different things, but I've helped like more than 100 people get to the point where they can take their own power back, which is something you mentioned, but that's very much my focus is helping people realize there's so much more than you can do. Just because there's no cure doesn't mean you can't get healthy.
And
And
I
that's
think
often,
one of the things I'm thinking of when I listen to you is that because I too agree with attracting things you don't want. So it's about the intention you put behind.
mhm,
And you are putting intention of healing, educating, helping. And when you do that, I believe you're going to stay healthy and become even healthier rather than attract it back because you don't want it back, but you want to help other people releasing their toxic stuff in
mhm.
this.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you had um session where you were truly blown away with the result?
With, I had one client a couple months ago now, and we did her first session. And this is a woman, lives in the UK. She has a job where she works at a college and she goes out and gives tours. And before going in to do this job that she does, she would get stressed and worried because her legs got wobbly all the time when she had to do her job. And that was, I mean, embarrassing can be a frustrating part of it as well. Like when I couldn't speak properly, I was embarrassed. And so that was part of the reason I pulled back from things. But I did one session with her, and the next week we met for her check in, and she was like, my legs haven't been wobbly for the whole week. She's actually wants to run with her husband, and she went out and she's like, I did 3 runs yesterday, and I came home and I didn't need to like sit down. My legs were fine. And so it's the unconscious mind is incredible, and understanding that it is the center of health and healing. And so when we can get that in our corner and working towards where we want to go, it's pretty awesome what can show up.
And I think we share a common belief, and that is that everybody has a perfect, healthy blueprint for our bodies.
Mhm.
And what can we do to bring forth, when we meet clients, what can we do to bring forth that blueprint? What's your experiences?
Helping them realize that to begin with, I think is really important because medicine tells us basically that we're broken. When there's health stuff going on, it's realized you're not broken at all. Like having even the awareness and understanding that like our unconscious mind tells our heart to beat every time it beats. Our unconscious mind tells our lungs to breathe every time we breathe. Can you imagine having to do that?
Yeah,
That'd be
I
a
need to
lot of
breathe.
energy. It'd
If
be
we
a
were,
lot of extra energy. And it's like, okay, well, if it can do all of those things, what if it could be in your corner when it comes to getting healthier? And so I have clients do a lot of focusing on there's one thing that on TikTok, on Instagram, I have dozens of people repeating to themselves every single day. Every day I'm getting healthier and healthier. Every day I'm getting healthier and healthier. And the number of DMs that I get from people daily where it's like, oh, my energy was better. Oh, I'm having better mental clarity and focus. My brain fog is gone. My nerve pain is gone. Like all of these cool things happening to them from that simple exercise. It's usually paired with, it was weird, which makes me laugh. And I'm like, is it though? And they're like, no, it's awesome. But it's really cool to help people have little wins so that it's like you said about when I did the nutrition for 30 days and I was like, oh, this is working. Wait a minute, I'm on to something. So I love having like that conversation with a client and giving them the chance to experience a little win because that motivates us to keep moving forward. And it's so powerful because there's so much more we can do than we've ever been led to believe.
When something like that happens, it opens up the question, this happens, what else is possible?
Hmm.
And I find that to be a very powerful question because now we start looking for, okay, what's else out there? What more can I find to help me on my journey? And it becomes self-empowering instead of I have to do this, I have to do that, this medicine, and
Hmm.
seeing a lot of doctors, that's not fun. Then
Nope.
rehashing your story again and again, and depending on who you're meeting, you will be believed or not. So there is, when you empower yourself, that's really the best thing there is, in my mind.
Oh, I totally agree. Totally agree. And the years of, I saw five different neurologists in my time of going to see MS doctors. And it's like fear on top of fear on top of fear. And from a vibration state, we know that fear is the lowest state you can be at. And
Yeah.
so, even, yeah, those little wins of like, oh, wait a minute, I'm doing something and this is working. And it just to change the way you vibrate, you're going to attract different things. You attract different opportunities, different people, different into your life and into your world. And then from a place of like, even the mindset shifts a little bit to gratitude of like, huh, okay, this is amazing. And then we attract more good stuff into our life, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and I was thinking that, oh shoot, I lost my thought of my tracks of thought. Um, it will come back, I'm sure. Um, when was the last time you visited a doctor?
2016.
So something is obviously working very well for you.
Yeah. When I first went to see my doctor, when I first started to change my diet, that was 2011, I believe. And I said to him, like, oh, I've made some changes to my diet. And he was like, oh, I don't know anything about that. Nutrition it won't help, won't do anything for this. And 2016, okay, so disclaimer here, I'm not ever recommending that people come off their medication. That's never my intention. I'm just sharing my story. Okay. So, January of 2016, I took myself off my meds that I was on. This was multiple years after I'd made changes to my diet, and I noticed things were starting to feel better, but I'd been in a place where I didn't feel safe and secure before. I was still in the toxic relationship, I was still in the toxic work environment. And so I did wait until 2016, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not taking these meds anymore. I need to see what will actually happen then. And I did start to feel better, but I went to see my doctor and he said, "Oh, like you seem like you're doing really well." And I was like, "I am actually." And I said, "I stopped taking the medication." And he said, "You're playing Russian roulette with your life, basically." And I was like, "Well, okay, but I'm going to keep doing this." And the next I did, that might have been 2015, because then 2016, the last time that I saw him, he was like, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Because the changes in me were incredible. And the body was able to start to kind of detox some of the meds and the effects of those things. And I was in a much better state in terms of energy, in terms of mental clarity, balance, and coordination. I even did better on the vision test than I had in the past. And things were just moving in a really positive direction. But he said, I don't need to see you anymore. And so I haven't been to see the doctor since. But yeah, it was an interesting experience to go in and to hear like medicine will never or nutrition will never help you. I don't know anything about that. To the next year when he was like, wow, okay, well, keep doing whatever you're doing. So Yeah.
That is the power of evidence. And
Hmm.
I finally remember what I forgot. It is that the doctors are fine and necessary, so I don't want to
Hmm.
put down the doctors. But I have lived with my body for a lot of years, so I probably, in one sense, know more about my body than you do.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's often forgotten that, oh, you need to take this medication. Well, my body is not reacting well to it. Well, you have to take it. And
Hmm.
so just to remind yourself to listen to your own body and to realize it's important to do that. And I'm so happy you found this way because you are sending very hopeful vibes for people who has these kind of illnesses. Because if MS as an autoimmune sickness, you can do something, there are other illnesses that's also autoimmune that
Hmm.
is really helpful.
Yeah. And like even if you're still on the medication, there's stuff you can do,
Yeah.
right? Like I did stuff for myself long before I
Yeah.
wasn't.
We're
So
not
even if you're
saying
still
stop
on
your
it.
medication. Listen to your doctor, but think as
Yeah.
well.
But even on the medication, it's like, oh, can I start shifting perspective and start doing different things for myself,
You
right?
can do
Like
a lot
things.
of things with your mind.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
that's where everything starts because
Hmm.
your journey starts with a thought. So back to the question, the curious question that I gave you.
Hmm.
What's something about the unconscious that still blows your mind today? Do you have something of that after all these years and all the
Um,
experiences?
Probably, like I said to you, when I share that powerful statement and have clients and have people like people on TikTok and Instagram aren't even my clients. They're just people that are trying this out. But how quickly things can change when we change the things that we think about. Your unconscious mind is looking to prove you right, whatever you're thinking about the most. And so, if you want to change your circumstances or your outcome, start changing what you're thinking about and what you're focusing on. That still blows my mind, how quickly change happens.
And you are thinking about, I'm getting better and better each day and things of that nature.
Every day I'm getting healthier and healthier. And the testimonials that I get from people every day is just like amazing. It does work. I knew it worked, but seeing evidence just is very cool.
It's always fun to see that other people have the changes you have experienced yourself. So
Hmm.
that's really so powerful. I think this is a really good end note to end on. So if somebody wants to work with you, or where can they reach you?
They can reach me on my website, which is alignednaturalhealth.com. If you're into social media, TikTok is my go-to, which I know many people don't love it, but if you do, you can find me at kate.mcdowell on TikTok or Aligned Natural Health on YouTube. And I share lots of fun content. Like I like to share things about things that helped me and things that have been successful with clients and just little exercises that you can start to add to your routine in your day and just notice what shows up for you and let me know.
Yeah, please, please do. Please let Kate know because
Mhm.
that is empowering for all of us.
I can celebrate with you.
Yeah, that too. Thank you so much for spending this half hour with me. I really enjoyed our talk and I hope to see you soon.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.